I could get some fans with this. I could lose some fans with this. I could cause some enemies. But that is okay. Because at the end of the day, you guys submitted me your top 5 figures in your collection that you had to take a picture of that were in your hand. You couldn't just give a list of your 5 favorite figures and be like, oh, Cloud City Boba. Well, most of you don't got that. When it comes to this, I actually decided I'm going to score you to make it easier for me. Because I found it really hard to kind of just put them in order and kind of give an excuse to be like, which one's higher than the other. And when you look at it, it's pretty easy once you put a scoring system onto it to rank them. And I think that that worked in my favor. Because top score is 20. Bottom score is -5. Here's my list. I thought I'd put myself on blast. This is an example of a perfect list for me. I have my favorite figure as a kid, the Kashyyyk Trooper. Queen Amidala is my favorite figure of all time. Harley's amazing. I put the little cat ears on her because it has the attachment. Hobby, peak, like one of the best. It's the best Spider-Man figure they've ever dropped. And then Shiny Man is Shiny Man. You can't go wrong with him. I'm coming at you today from a different place and a different time just to tell you what next submission video is. Of course, if you didn't know, this video submissions were made in my Discord server. Link will be in the description of this video. Go join it. Come talk to us. But I will make a deadline. It will be on the screen right now. That day is when the new submissions for this video are due. And the next video is going to be me rating your alt builds. And because you guys know me well, you know what kind of alt builds I'm going to be telling you to make. Make me a Falcon. I'm giving you a little more than a week, probably about 2 weeks. We'll see what the date I decide is. But send it to the Discord. There'll be a new channel open specifically for these entries. And I'll see you in the Discord and in the next video. But let's continue with this one. Let's get on to the list proper. At number 45, Leviathan. Because I do like the Animal Crossing figure. I do like SpongeBob. I'm very indifferent to these guys. And this farm trooper with a like backpack and a helmet on, I don't really like that figure. But what I do have to say, the most interesting thing about your list, Leviathan, is the burnt up pizza truck that looks like it went through the pizza oven. I just gotta ask, what happened to that? But at number 44, we got Vinny. For me, a lot of people put that Mandalorian on this list. I'm very indifferent to him. I think he is a great figure, but I'm just tired of seeing him. You know what I mean? He came in like, what, 7 sets? Battle Droid's fine. Like, I think it is like a really good figure, but like, am I gonna put a Battle Droid in my top peak figure list? No. My boy Tyler. Thor, Carnage, great figures. But you're gonna put a buildable Goku that's not even Lego in your list? Brother, you're gonna lose points. And I do know he didn't have 5 figures. He messaged me and said, oh, I managed to find this girl so I can do 4 and then this. So you're not going to get points for regular city civilian. It's not a bad figure, but I'm just so uninterested in that this is what you get, Tyler. Now, Goon. I think everything here, the Vader is a little meh. And that's something that I see. A lot of people like the burnt up Anakin, but I'm not the hugest fan of that figure in general. The Ra's al Ghul custom, solid. And Cody's is a great figure. That's actually amazing. That's actually the amazing score, the first one we see on the list. But he said that this one on the left is supposed to be Red Hood. And I'm not gonna lie, man. That Spider-Man head is throwing me off so much that I just don't like the way it is. We're not gonna see a whole lot more bad figures, but fact of the matter is, now that we're here, everybody's got scores in the positive. Pretty great figures. This custom teetered on the 3 for me. Teetered on amazing. But otherwise, some good across the board. And this guy just didn't do it for me, but meh is meh, you know? Aaron, well, I said you don't really see a lot of negative scores, but I think this Anakin figure is one of the worst figures of all time. I despise this figure. I really don't like it. This Boba would be higher if it wasn't a keychain, but otherwise, decent list. I like the Steve Minecraft, and Aaron did say he just doesn't have his Lego where he's at, so this is what he had, and you still got a 7 for the fact you had like 5 figures you could put. Tiger with another amazing figure with that Spider-Man. And a couple people put that Spider-Man on the list. But it isn't a favorite of me for Spider-Man. Like, I think when it comes to Spider-Man figures, that might be like top 6, top 7. And also, one other thing I like to say, this Dragon Ninjago character. I like it, but there's a very similar figures to it that I like more down the list, and you'll see them when we get to them. Also, Mothman, great inclusion. All right, like I said, I'm tired of this Mandalorian, but we get our first peak figure with the Moon Knight. No conversation there. Moon Knight is a spectacular figure. But right next to him is Mr. Freeze, and even if you like Mr. Freeze, you have to admit that figure, I hate it. I really don't like the way most of these Mr. Freeze figures look. The classic one is the best one. And otherwise, and that's not even like a peak figure. I'd still maybe give that like a 2. Freeze just hasn't had the best variants for his minifigures, but otherwise solid list. Timmy, another -1 because out of all the Spider-Man, you pick the bland one and not even the one with the dual legs. Otherwise, another peak figure with Captain Rex, but you put 2 Rexes and you put the one that is obviously worse than this. There is a difference between these 2 figures for me. Communist Creeper, it was close to peak for me. Close to peak. And then Carrot Guy's fine. 36 Corvette. Saw Gerrera, amazing figure. Skeleton, I was debating on putting that higher than 1. But good is good. Decent grouping here. We're already at 10 out of 20 already. Mr. Jed, as I said, I'm not the hugest fan of this Anakin, but I am a huge fan of this guy. He is in my top 50 figures of all time. Easy 4 on the list. A lot of people also love this Ahsoka. Not my favorite Ahsoka. So you get a 3 out of 4. It is a amazing figure, but it isn't the peak, you know? Spider-Man has like a delicate touch, but this one, not a personal favorite for me. Toby, you had a chance to be a lot higher if that face was different. If you put the regular face on her, what was that? The other one was 3 points. You would be at 14. You'd be higher on this list, bro. Why did you try to put the new face on it? It makes it a cursed figure now. But otherwise, solid list. Also, Indy, I like the new Indy more. So that's where peak is, personally for me. But I get a lot of people have the nostalgia with the old school. And Lincoln, he did end up changing his list, and he did end up going up in points. Because originally, he put something here that was not the Grievous, but Grievous is peak, so he gained points on that. But again, Burnt Anakin's I'm not a fan, and I really am not a fan of this one. Like, you have to admit, and that's what I said, it's a good figure, but it's not a favorite. Like, when you're talking about 5 favorite figures ever, some of these are a little bit of wild choices, but peak and peak. You can't deny peak when you see it. Your brother McKinnon, though, he came in swinging 1 more point above you. Which, that -1 point kind of hurt a little bit. But Gambit is one of the best superhero figures ever. Some great and amazing figures otherwise. The Ultron minions, just okay. You know, it's good. Zilla, nothing peak on this list, but a lot more like average great across the board. First time we see this Boba, but the one with the arm printing and stuff, that's where the 4 comes in for Boba. First Order Troopers, the Sith Troopers, just fine for me. Now on to the 13 points. We got Wookiee Bricks, who does, I was very close to putting that Chewbacca in the peak. This figure, without the cape, hurts him bad. He is a very, very bland figure without the cape. Regular Jar Jar's fine, you know? But White Vader, peak. No denying that. And with this one, I do have to say, Cosmic Boy, you were this close. Because his 5 is Killer Croc, the Agents guy, Gwen, and these 2. And like I said, when it comes to the people with the wings, I think this is the cooler figure for Ninjago. And this guy, very close to peak for me. That is a amazing figure. So is Gwen. But if you took out the Agents guy and you put Anubis in there, you would go up 3 points. Because Anubis is a top 25 figure ever for me. And the Agents just doesn't really do it for me. Like, it's an okay figure, but it's not a favorite. That Anubis is so phenomenal that you would be at 16 points. But Sakura, you have it amazing across the board, but that Bly, the hand-painted Bly, just doesn't really work. It's still good. Everything else is amazing. And you'll lose just a couple points for that reason. Stitch, some amazing figures. Mini dolls really aren't my thing. I'm just going to admit that. And this one right here, very close to making that peak. I really like her design. I think these are the new build a minifigures at the Lego stores, but I'm not sure. But they're great. They are amazing figures. And speaking of some amazing figures, you got pulled down purely along the fact that he feels so bald without the arm printing. I know not everyone can afford the arm printing, but you just gotta admit that it's just worse. It's just worse. And speak of the devil, these are some great figures. Only Simpsons representation on the list. Shocker by that. Baron, though, love me Dune, and that's the best figure. One of the best figures from that lineup. Kite. In the first 16 on the list. We're already at 16 out of 20, and there's still 23 slots up here, dude. You guys picked some amazing figures. But, I do have to say, Kite, if you picked regular Woo, you'd be higher. Gold Woo is fine, but regular Woo's like goated. Jedi Bob, amazing. That's fine. This is the remake, though. You don't got OG Bob. I don't know who this guy is on the right, but I love him. This figure's great. I want it now. Now, when it comes to mythical, talk about some amazing figures. All some amazing troopers. None that are specifically my favorite, other than the Death Trooper. That Arc Trooper is very close to peak. But Dooku, great. Thrawn, great. Kind of prefer the old Thrawn, though. And Jack 14, amazing. Great list right here. We're really getting there when it comes to the lists. But then when we get here, we see that there's a little bit of misses. I do have to say, Squidman. There's more than one Squidman on this list. And you see that this is the first time he's appeared, because Squidman is goated. Jane Goodall almost got a peak from the fact that it's an RIP right now. We miss our GOAT. If you know, you know for this figure right here. I'm not going to get any deeper than that. And then 21. I do have to say, this trooper is a great trooper, but he's not to some of the other levels. And you can kind of just see the difference between when you're looking at our boy Echo and this guy. You see this guy just feels a little bland when you're looking at our absolute GOAT right here. Plo Koon, amazing. But when you're talking about some of the best Jedi ever made, that's peak right there. That's peak right there. King Edits. As I said, he put special arms on him. He put the cape on him. Look at how much better that looks. And then Davy Jones. Ugh, these are some of the best figures ever. Like I said, though, you lose a couple points just because you got the worst Rex. Now you're looking at it, it's like there's only a 4-point gap between the people here in the top of the list. Like, everybody is right here balling. And speaking of balling, that's that classic boy right there. That's that Pong Krell. Goated. And I really do like Starkiller and this Damaged Vader. And I know a lot of people, like, that's their favorite. I love Force Unleashed. I keep campaigning. Give us Force Unleashed. Give us Force Unleashed. Give us Force Unleashed. But the figures are kind of bland. But A-Treat, like I said, peak and peak. This one's almost peak for me. But I do have to say, this trooper, great trooper. But not to the level of the rest of these guys here. There was a lot of First Order love. I was a little surprised by that on the list. This guy, though, I gotta get me one of them. That's an amazing, like, snow trooper, and it's not the only time you'll see it on this list. That one gets a crossover later on. Squidman. I know what you did, because you're a freak, but you cannot lie and say that this is not a great lineup. If they updated her figure to the new Indiana Jones, you'd probably be higher, man. Like, this is a solid starting lineup, but you're a freak. Now, our boy Bob. 2 gremlins, though. And I do think if you just left the torso on Gizmo and didn't make him a Darth Gizmo, you might have had a 4. Beetlejuice, amazing. And like I said, another amazing Boba. Like, very, very solid starting lineup here. And Thomas, you thought you could pull in and have a top of the list. And you got pretty high. Most people know there are levels to these Phase 1 commanders. And God, Fox and Wolf are them. Rex not having a special torso print bugs me. And these two are pretty solid. I just always wish they did something for his gear instead of just like the bandolier. Because something always felt a little bald about Guri not having any sort of extra equipment to him. But now, Brendan, Upside Down Brick, you know what you did. The Tyler Life Bricks, that's a funny pick. That the father from the Cullen house, funny pick. But otherwise, you picked some of the best figures of all time. Like, no denying that. And you got really high because of it. And I know you memed. But if you actually put some of the other figures I know you have and I know you love, you could have had a clean 20. But you wanted to meme. But even with the meme, you still got the 14th place. Solid one. Donuts did a solid pick too. Only crossover with my list though. Of course, it got peak scores. And Max Rebo, solid figure, really amazing figure. He just doesn't have enough details, you know? Very bland body, very bland thing. The head is all he is. And Fisto, no cape on the Fisto. I still don't think it's a peak figure, but I think you would have maybe gotten to the amazing if you gave him the cape. The cape makes a difference. And Phoenix, the first 17, that Mace, peak Rogue One figure. Green, we already went over it. Not the best Phase 1 commander, but a really dang good one. This, better than regular Jar Jar. We love the freaking shield on him. Like, this is a very solid Gun King. But Alloy is an amazing, peak figure. I was shocked when I first got it, back when they first dropped the Horizon Zero Dawn set, which I actually have. You can't see it. Oh, no, you can. There's some tall necks back there somewhere. But TOT Stone, 2 TOT members dropped their lists for my video, and they both ended up almost both in the top 10. And Stone, you're slightly lower, but he also did say that this one was sort of the meme pick, because you need Jack Stone in your thing. That's funny. He ain't peak like Nightwing, Link, and Light Up Windu. Very solid starting lineup here. But Ruby, slightly more solid. Pre-Vizsla, Grievous. You can't go wrong with them whatsoever. And then some amazing troopers as well as OG Boba. And you see how OG Boba gets you 2 extra points compared to the keychain from earlier. And hey, it brought him up to top 10. And Master Ring. Once we're up to this point, I was really bouncing around the top 9 here. These are fantastic lineups. So we're already looking at 90s. You know what I mean? 18 on the 20. For Woody, the head still messes with me the slightest bit. Cal Kestis, great. He needed that cloak, though, to be peak. But otherwise, Shadow, peak. Squidman, peak. Snake Guy, peak. We're there. We're really at the echelon of minifigures here. And TOT Robbie, with one of the only peak customs I've seen. Oh my god. That Dexter is insane. And this Trooper, really good. And like I said, really good. Amazing lineup right here. I gotta love me some Beach Trooper. Honestly, respectable pick. Because I'd probably have him up here too if I had him too. Gunnar, like I said, put the right arms on that Django and you got peak. Link, peak. Any of those Zelda figures, you put them up there, it's peak. The Slave Leia, best variation of it. The other one's a 3, this one's a 4. And this guy, I've never seen this figure before, but I really like it. Amazing. And this guy, dude, if this was made today and it had arm printing with the caution symbols on it, we'd be looking at 19 points here, Gunnar. Number 6, Mr. Flex on us all. Gold 3PO. And I do have to say, there you can see the difference between why this guy isn't peak. He's amazing. But the other Django is just better. You can't have peak when another version of you is better. But Joe, like I said, you put the top Django, you put the top Boba, you put some Doom figures, you put, I don't even know who bro is from Ninjago, but he's amazing. I love that figure. That is cool. And then Tron, maybe it's because I don't have the set. I've only seen the figures a couple times. They don't impress me as much as I see other people impressed by it. Same thing with you, Jeff. Because you're right there. You're right there. But I just, the Tron figure just doesn't impress me. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great, amazing figure, but it isn't peak to me. Sorry. You got everything else. K2SO, beautiful Daredevil custom. The only big fig inclusion on this list. But as I said, right there, the top 3 are all perfect 20s. But I will say, Magnum, you were an inch away from the top of the list. Because if that C-3PO with the misprinted eyes on the side replaced Fox, you'd still be looking at a 20, but you'd also be looking at first place. I think that is so cool. Like, that's the coolest thing here. You have a one of one 3PO with the eyes printed on the side. That's so cool. But everything else here is cool as well. So is Italian Cats. Punisher and Daredevil, amazing figures. And like I said, every Legend of Zelda figure is amazing. And the only One Piece inclusion here, I looked at this and said, I should have retaken my picture and put Luffy as one of my slots. Because the One Piece figures are amazing. And one of the best Iron Man suits as well. But Fire Girl came in at number one. Honestly, the top three are so close. You could honestly give them all honorary top points. Something about this spoke to me. Maybe it's the way the photo was taken. They're all taken well. Fire Girl came in at number one, but the gap isn't long, isn't large. So that's the list. It was fun exploring what your favorite figures were, figuring it out, and just ranking you guys. I'll always give you my opinions and tell you how I feel about it. The fact of the matter is only a couple of you scored low. I think anything over a 10 in this sort of ranking is honorable. Like, you got great figures across the board, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I am out. Peace.